Hello and welcome. I'm Justin Bullock and welcome to the Untold Talent podcast, a show for creative people with creative people about creative people, finding out what makes them tick, what keeps them inspired, and most importantly of all, what keeps them motivated. So, been a pretty good week creatively for me, and I guess that's surprising considering all of the horrible things going on, or should I say atrocities going on in the country right now. But despite it all, I was able to get a ton of writing done on a new story. I guess being snowed in or iced in our case is can do that. Gives you plenty of time to think and sit with something. But working on a new book. I'm already pretty far in. This is the fastest I've ever reached 20,000 words before on a story. I don't know if that's good or bad. I am feeling a little optimistic about this one, although I did have to send some pages to a friend of mine to review because I just had to know like if it was any good or not. I've made it this far, and before I went any further, I was like, should I keep going? So more to follow. Maybe they come back and say it's no good. I don't know. But I'm hoping for something better. But yeah, it's an interesting story. It's right now it seems to be that there are 7 strangers who find themselves in this hotel and they have no idea how they got there or any recollections of anything like that. They just seem to have appeared there and they can't seem to leave. There's no way for them to get out of there, and events unfold from there. I don't want to give away too much. Obviously, we're still working through it, and with me, things are always changing, and I never stick to anything. But I got the idea from an old film called The Exterminating Angel. If you've never seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. It's really cool. And that's kind of where I got the idea for this. But yeah, looking forward to exploring with this story. And I'm actually trying out a new writing technique where I'm just really letting the characters dictate where they want to go. So I'm not really outlining anything. I just sit down at a writing session and I just basically ask the characters, like, okay, what are we doing today? And then just seeing where it goes from there. So I'll see if that continues to work out. But yeah, so on today's show, I've got a very special guest that I'm going to be chatting with. She's a content creator and motorsports journalist, Taylor Kitchen. Looking forward to talking to her. She hosts a show called Above the Yellow Line, does all kinds of really cool stuff, an absolute pro, and looking forward to getting into a conversation with her. And yeah, so let me bring in the guest and let's get to it. Today I'm joined with a very special guest. She's a motorsports journalist and content creator. Her show is Above the Yellow Line. In fact, I don't know if you can tell, but I actually wore for this occasion, I wore my Above the Yellow Line t-shirt. I know, just for this, I put it on. So we are joined today by Taylor Kitchen. How are you doing? And welcome to the show.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for doing this. Really, the pleasure is mine, honestly. How did you fare in our winter weather that we had? Did you get any out your way?
Yes, luckily not as bad as I think it was expected to be, but
Yeah,
it was nice to kind of stay in, watch the Rolex 24,
that's what
chill
I
for a
did.
little bit.
Yeah,
Good. Okay, good.
I was gonna ask you if you had watched the Rolex 24 and what you thought about it.
Yeah, this was my second year watching
Okay,
it, I think. Very new to IMSA sports car racing,
I
but
love it.
oh my gosh, like it's thrilling that you can have a 24-hour race and it comes down to literally like the final 7 minutes.
That's what I
Phenomenal
that's
racing.
what I was saying. I was telling the girlfriend because we were watching it, and I was like, "Can you believe that they've been racing 24 hours and it's still as close as it is to where like
Yes.
it's a tight race?" Like you would think, because in years past, when I would watch the 24 hours race, because my first 24-hour race was the one in 2001. It
Okay.
was Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. were on a team together. And it's
Yes.
2001, so let's put you there. It's 2001 is January. Dale Earnhardt passes away like the next month. So this was one of like the last races that he competed in and did really well in it. And that was my first one. But those races back in the day would end like, oh, the leader's like 6 laps ahead or something like this. But this one was incredible. It was incredible.
So good.
How did so what have you been doing during the off season to keep yourself occupied? I mean, are you getting excited for racing to come back? I mean, because technically it's what, this weekend if the weather holds off. What have you been kind of
Yeah.
doing this over the off season?
Really, the off season for me has been a little different than most. Typically, during the off season, I'm pumping out like evergreen content, so like
Mm,
fun video ideas that I've been storyboarding or planning like during the season that I haven't had time to get to. This year was more so using my off season to deal with some health issues,
oh
which
goodness, are you okay?
did not expect. I'm all good,
Good,
getting sorted out, which is
good.
always good. But a lot of it was balancing that. But what's I think people don't either realize, see, understand about working in motorsports, whether it's content creation or journalism full time, is your work doesn't stop when the season ends.
That's right.
You're constantly trying to find more stories. You're constantly trying to create different, new, and exciting content. So it's been a lot of working on my health, but also continuing to find content and, of course, prep for the 2026 season, which I think I'm ready for. I think
Yeah,
so.
you ready? Because it's coming, whether you're ready or not.
Yes.
So let's get to know you a little better. Take me back to the beginning. Um, how did you kind of find motorsport? How did you come to love motorsport as much as you do? How did that kind of all start?
So I had motorsports, particularly NASCAR, around me my entire life. I just never really cared to really seek it out or
Mm,
never cared to really like look or watch a race. My grandma and my grandpa were kind of the point of inspiration here. They had been fans of NASCAR since around when I was born, and they had always watched it. They always had it on the TV at their house. We could never touch the remote on weekends. It
mm,
stayed on the races. In some odd reason, I don't know what kind of compelled me to watch the race I did, but it was the Texas night race for the Xfinity series
mm,
in 2016.
okay.
And I somehow decided, like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna watch it. Like, Kyle Busch won it and all this
I
stuff.
was
But
about to say, yeah. It sounds like
yeah,
his reign of terror in the in
yes.
that time. Yeah.
Like, that's when he was, like, at his peak there,
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Um, But I finally had watched a race from like start to finish, and I was like, this is actually not as bad as I thought. And I had played a lot of sports growing up. I did competitive dance, soccer, basketball, tennis. Like I'd done it all. And there was just something about motorsports that really connected with me. It was just something refreshing and new. And so I started following it more and more throughout 2016. And then in 2017, my grandparents invited my siblings and I to go to Kentucky Speedway for their yearly trip to the track. And
Oh, sweet.
I saw a race in person for the first time. And it was just, that was it. That's what got me hooked.
That's really cool. My first race was Rockingham,
Oh,
1999. Dating myself a
okay.
little bit. It was yeah, it was who won that race? It was a fight between Jeff Burton and Ward Burton, and if my history is correct, I think Ward Burton won the race. It was like
I think so.
one of the only, he was in the cat car 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty sharp looking ride back in the day.
Really
Um
was.
so what did you so obviously you go to your first race, you absolutely love it and everything. I'm actually surprised that you watched Texas and thought that that was cool, because that's usually like one of the tracks that I'm like, God, would something happen, please? So that's pretty interesting. That was your first experience into it, and so your grandparents were big into racing. Who did they root for?
They loved Dale Jr. Since then, my grandma is no longer a Junior fan. She's a fan of like Ryan Blaney now and stuff like that. But
Nice. That I
yeah,
like to hear
so
that.
good
I'm also
picks.
yeah, I'm also a fan. I got a bunch of Ryan Blaney hats over here and Penske
Oh,
hats.
I
And
love that.
yeah, so that's yeah, I love Blaney. He's the man. So that's good.
Yeah.
So you go into broadcasting. Was broadcasting something you were like always kind of interested in? I mean, how did you arrive at like I want to do broadcasting and I want to do motorsports journalism? How did that
It
come
was
about?
a it was a winding road to get there. I think professors knew what I was meant to do before I did, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like. I'd always loved writing. I'd always loved creative writing,
Oh
and
yeah.
that was just something that I did, whether it was journaling, whether it was creating stories, ever since I was little. Like I just that was my thing.
Yeah. I
And
mean, I feel that.
when
I'm a
I
writer.
was
I feel that.
yeah, it's something you just instinctively just kind of feel that you know how to do. And I think at the crux of that for me was I just love to tell stories. And
Hmm.
so as I'm in high school, going to college, I actually started off as a film production major because I love the idea of video storytelling. And I was like, documentaries is what I was like, I want to do this.
Hmm.
Had no clue around what. I thought racing was cool at the time, but I just didn't see a way to have racing as a career. Like I knew it could be. I just didn't know really how I wanted to fit into the equation, but I knew I wanted to work in racing. But I figured, let's start off by learning more of the film basics and go from there. Well, I lasted about a month in film production because I just didn't like it. It wasn't my scene. It was more, I want to say it was more artsy than I had bargained for because
Yeah.
I respect and love film as an art. But I wanted something that felt more like I was telling stories as they're happening. And so I switched majors from media production, creative writing. And one of my professors in my creative writing course, I think my second semester at college, was like, have you considered journalism? And I was like, no, but considering the amount that I'm on Twitter and I'm quote unquote reporting news, which wasn't really reporting news at the time,
Yeah.
um, I was like, maybe I should like try this and go this route. So my college education and my career progression just kind of went hand in hand, and it just worked out that way. But um, it was more so. I feel like I stumbled upon journalism as opposed to really feeling like I found it because I didn't feel like I really hit the point where I was like, this is exactly what I want to do until like 2022, about like a year before I was about to graduate from college. So,
Yeah. It's funny. I was smiling a lot through that because it's bizarre how similar our paths are. When I listen to you, I reminded me of a very young me. The only difference between our paths is you went upwards, I went the other way. But can I tell you a story?
yeah.
I was in high school, and growing up in rural North Carolina, you could have dreams, but you really only had one option, and that was the military. That's just what like it was ingrained in you in like rural North Carolina. Like the recruiters would. I don't know how this was for you in high school in Ohio, but the recruiters would stand outside the lunch line as you're going in to like talk to
Hmm.
you because this is what this is what you do. So I was wanting to go into the military, but kind of was just this is what I thought I had to do. It was my I was taking broadcasting in high school. We had like a broadcasting class. It was really nothing, but I decided to like take it, and it was my high school broadcast teacher, Miss Nordberg. Never forget her. She was the one who approached me, and very much like you with teachers saying you should do this kind of thing. She was like, you have a talent for this. You should do that instead of the military. So I did, and the recruiter was so pissed at me when I told him that, like, hey, I'm actually not going to do this. I'm going to go and learn broadcasting. And you should have seen the look on his face. But yeah, I went into broadcasting, and I remember this will make you laugh. I remember when when I went into it, I graduated. And the day I walked across the stage, I Googled like the most useless degrees in America, and mine in broadcasting was number 2 underneath botany. I was like, great, what have I just gotten myself into? But yeah, it was very similar. Like I also tried film, worked on a pilot pirate kids show, and also like you, I actually did make a couple of short films and worked on some things, but I found like you, I was like the more I got kind of involved in it, the personalities kind of like drove me away a little bit. It stopped
Yeah.
being it stopped being kind of fun. I guess I wanted to do it for the art, and it kind of got I don't know a little bit away from that. But um
But I
yes,
totally, though, I totally feel that the path too. Like I did a lot of short films in college. We would do like 48-hour film festivals, and that was so
yeah,
fun.
those are
And
fun.
they're, oh my gosh, it's stressful, but such a fun
Yeah,
time. And like I found a love for like editing. Now I kind of loathe editing a little bit, but
yeah,
as
yeah.
I was getting into that, and I did theater even too, like in high school, middle school, and stuff like that, and I didn't click with the fact that I wanted to do like broadcast like on camera really until like later in college. And Rebecca Aguilar, fantastic journalist, she spoke with our class, and I like sent her my resume and information on LinkedIn afterwards, and she was like, you need to be on camera. She goes, I
Mm,
don't care what you think. I don't care like who says X, Y, and Z. Like you need to pursue that. You have a gift. Go for it. And I was like, that's the kind of boost I needed to pursue because I'd been doing podcasting at the time, but I was like, can podcasting lead to a career and
mm,
so on and so forth. But the point that you made about, your teacher, telling you, have you considered this? Have you thought about this? Like, it makes all the difference
It
when you
does.
have someone in your corner kind of pushing you. So it's cool.
Yeah, and with the podcast thing, like I feel like I got into broadcasting at a very weird time because like I got in when it's podcasting isn't a thing yet, or it's
Right.
just starting to be, but also things are getting more syndicated. Because I was going like the radio path because I got a face for radio. Everyone's told me, right? No, no, I wanted to be away from the camera. I'm more
Hmm.
comfortable away from the camera. And I wanted to be behind the mic. But the broadcast industry was changing so much at the time that, like, I don't know, when we went out there trying to find our place in the broadcasting world, the options were extremely limited. I did work at, I was lucky enough to get on with Kitty Kinnon. If you're listening, Kitty, thank you so much. But I got in with her on a classic rock station. But those opportunities, they got less and less as the media atmosphere began to change. I don't know if you've experienced any of that, of how much the industry has changed and those kinds of things.
Yeah. No, as we were graduating college, or I guess as I was graduating college back in like 2023, that's where you really saw the shift of like content creators becoming like
Mm,
journalists or
yeah.
spokespersons for news and things like that. And there was a huge shift. Like TikTok was kind of in the weeds at that point, and we were having all of these guest speakers like Rebecca Aguilar and other folks like coming into our class and telling us, here's how the newsroom is shifting. Like people aren't staying in the newsroom. There's constant rotations. We need producers more than ever before. And they were kind of telling us like the state of like local news was kind of in a panic, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how it is today too, as they're trying to keep up with social media. It's
Hmm.
difficult. And so a lot of us, I feel like, left college. I have incredible peers in college that have gone on to do fantastic things, that are lead anchors of a morning news channel like up in Toledo. Like I'm so inspired by my classmates, and I'm thankful with the class I graduated with and graduated around, because they pushed me to be better.
Mm.
But we all left college, I think, kind of feeling like, so we went to school for broadcast journalism, but like, I don't know if that's what I want to pursue with how the state of it is. So a lot of my classmates went the freelance route. I mean, that's what I did. I knew I didn't want to work in a newsroom. I didn't like the environment. I didn't
Hmm.
feel it was healthy mentally. I didn't feel like the stories that I would have been pushed to tell made sense. I don't like telling stories on a deadline either. I feel like you don't put out meaningful work that way.
Mm, yeah.
So going the freelance route for me was the best option, and it's been very fruitful for me, in terms of like I got to work with Racing America for a time. I've gotten to, now I'm full time with Motorsport, which has been
Hey,
fantastic, and I
that's
have my own
cool.
company.
Yeah. By the way,
Yeah.
that's a flex, my friend. That's really cool.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
No,
Like I read that on a regular basis, and when I saw that news come out over your social, I was like, damn, that's pretty cool.
it's great. The progression, as a kid who did a podcast to that, to me, has been bizarre, but that's because I chose to bet on myself and not go the traditional route, because
That's
I
cool.
just didn't, not that I didn't trust what the folks that were coming in that were telling us about the current news state and whatever, but I just didn't like how wishy-washy, or a lot of them didn't seem like they loved where they were working. And I was like, I don't want to work somewhere where other people are not optimistic about its future. I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of
Yeah. No
create that
kidding.
own optimism myself.
Yeah.
So,
No, that
yeah.
was the right move, and it's clearly worked out. And honestly, it's inspirational. And if other people are listening who are creatives or artists or whatever they might be, like for me, I have kind of felt like I've played it too safe when it comes to my writing. Like I've published 4 books, but I've done that kind of myself on like a self-published thing and been my own marketing. But I almost feel like where you have the confidence, and this is what I respect about you, is that you have the confidence to go out there and bet on yourself, as you said, and you just put yourself out there. And it just seems like you've been, I don't know, I'm sure it was tough, but from a perspective like me, it just seems like you're knocking home runs every time you go to the plate. And whereas like it's something I'm trying this year with this new book I've just finished. I'm actually trying to submit this one and trying to get that published, and not really fearing of what a publisher might say, of whether, like, because it used to be afraid, like, if I put something out there, they write me back and be like, you're not that good, we don't want to go with you, and what would that do to me? But I respect the fact that you've just always kind of put yourself out there, you've done your own thing, you've forged your own path. That's really cool. It's inspiring, honestly.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't want mean this to be cliche. I just don't know any different. I've
I
I
like
mean,
it.
I've dealt with a lot of health issues where I'm having to just forge my own way, not only to make a living, but to work sustainably, to
Hmm.
live sustainably. And so a lot of that is, all right, if something doesn't work, awesome, I'll find a new way. If
That's cool.
I am out somewhere and I have a health issue, awesome, I got to take care of myself and figure it out. College, I took a year and a half off because of health, and I fought to get back because I wanted to get my darn degree, and
Yeah,
I did it. So
you
I
did it.
don't know any different. But I think my whole thought process is it's the saying of the worst somebody can say is no. It's
That's true.
old school cliche, whatever. But what does no mean to you? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean you failed. It just means maybe that's not the right opportunity for you. Or
Yeah,
maybe you need to send your idea, your concept to somebody else, get more feedback. But I think a lot of people know as a closed door. I think what really changed for me and how I internalized that and as I was moving forward in my career is it's never a firm no until you say it is in some cases.
yeah.
And so forging that path going forward and not being afraid to try out different things and put myself out there. I think that's just it's helped a lot. I think the other thing too is just I also feel like I was aided by not really knowing what I wanted for the longest time. I
Hmm.
was doing the podcast, but I didn't know I wanted to do it as a career. I wanted to do it to reach different people and create a community. It was at a time where I'd lost a lot of my friends because I wasn't in college. I was dealing with health, and I just wanted to be able to talk about something that I love with other people.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it wasn't even 2 years until that where I was like, oh, this could be a job. So I think the not knowing where things were headed also helped me as well because I could just focus on the passion of it and not the this has to get me somewhere.
I think that comes through clearer than you probably realize that some people get into things for the wrong reasons. They say, like, I want to do this to um, get famous or get paid, but there's a passion that has to come from it first. Like, you have to enjoy writing and creating characters and creating stories first to write books and whatnot. And I think to your point, when it comes to like there has to be a passion for journalism, motorsports, and those kinds of things. And I think that passion comes through more so, and it makes it more authentic. I don't know. I think this is the way it
For
is. I
sure.
think there's something to that in what she said. Um, so like put me there. Where did the inception behind this show, above the yellow line, kind of come from? Where did it begin? Where were you when that lightning struck?
I wanted to do a podcast for a little bit, but I did not feel like back in like 2017, 18, 19, even 2020 that I knew enough about NASCAR to feel like I had the privilege of having a mic.
Mm,
Even when I started the podcast, I was still learning as I was going. But it came from a place of this is 2021 at this point. I think this is like December. Actually, no, that's a lie. I think that's December of 2020 is where I'm at.
okay.
And it could be January. But I'm at my kitchen table with my dad, and I'm trying to think of ways where I'm like, how can I kind of like not restart my life, but how can I start to earn things back? I'd lost so much because of my illness, and I just got in a diagnosis, and I was trying to figure out like how do I move forward? How do I find my spark again? And I was like, I guess a podcast is a way to do it, to find community and to, reach a group of folks to talk about what I love. And from that, I actually have like my best friends in the entire world. And it's been great. But to the topic at hand, I was at my kitchen table and I was, brainstorming podcast ideas and whatnot. And my dad is the one that actually kind of came up with the name because I wanted to do Below the Yellow Line, but I felt like that was like too negative.
Mm.
I don't know why. And then he's like, why don't you just do Above the Yellow Line? I'm like, that's a great idea.
By the way, I love the
So
title. I do. I really do love Above the
thank
Yellow
you.
Line. It's really cool.
It's fun, it's catchy,
It is.
it's a positive way because I'm like, you want to stay above the yellow line. Like that's the rule. You got to stay above it.
You do.
And you hear it at every super speedway, at every big race, and it's just fun. So that's how the name came about. Is just brainstorming while my dad's doing dishes in the kitchen. I'm sitting at the kitchen table and we're talking it out. And from there, I just came up with different concepts, different segments that I felt would work. Changed it drastically over time to where it is now. But it started off audio only because I
Mm.
did not want to be on camera.
Yeah, I feel that.
and then progress from there.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm forcing myself to be on camera now, and I'm not even trying to like look at it. I'm like, please, I just don't. I know what it means.
It's scary.
It is.
It
It
is.
is. It definitely is. What was that first episode like? You said it was audio only. How do you think it went? Do you ever like go back and listen to it and are like, Jesus Taylor, what were you doing? I don't know. Like, what do you think of that first episode?
So I forced myself to go back and watch it last year. I was talking to some college classes. Some of my old professors had me come back like virtually and talk to those classes. And I actually had an internship program I hosted with ATYL Media, my media company that has Above the Line and stuff. I hosted an internship program with 4 incredible interns. And before doing that and before I did these college talks, I listened to my first episode and I had some of them listen to it as well. And I just sit there and I'm just cringing because I'm like, ooh, like
Yeah.
I sound so awkward. I'm talking off of a script. I don't feel confident. I didn't sound confident.
Hmm.
Even like when I first started my first episodes on camera too, I just look awkward. I don't know what to do with my hands. My face is
The
like
hands is
frozen
the
in
trickiest
fear.
part.
It's so tricky. I talk with my hands a
So do
lot, as you
I.
can
I
tell.
can't. Me
Over
too.
time.
Yes. I have to talk with my hand too. If I didn't have hands, I would lose the ability of speech. I think. I think
Yes.
this is where the speech comes from. Honestly.
Yes, it's a critical part of like our expression, I feel like.
Mm.
And so as I'm watching these first episodes, I'm like, I just sound awkward and I hate to watch back any episodes that I do. I watch them back so I can learn and adjust going forward. I think that's so important as a creative.
Hmm.
But looking back at that first episode to where I am now, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like we have grown. There is growth here. We don't totally sound that awkward anymore. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I look back at the first episode in many different ways, with cringe and with confidence that I'm growing as a human being as well as a creative. So
Yeah, no, I feel that. I mean, I think that's the way it is for any creative. Anytime you're an artist who makes music, if you listen back to a song, you critique it. To this day, I still think about lines and sentences and dialogue that I wrote in a book, and I was like, what was I? I could have done that so much better, but I can't go back and fix it now. Or there's a gaping plot hole that no one else really can see, and then I'm just like, oh my God, what was I doing?
yeah,
Such a sham. Yeah, I think all of us are, especially creative people, I think are so hard on ourselves.
oh, for sure.
I want to peel back the layers a tad. What's your creative process behind? Do you have a creative process when it comes to your videos, your writing? Like, how do you plan or formulate a show? Do you have a formula for a show, that kind of thing? And how do you go through that process, getting ready for an episode? What do you do?
So, a few different processes. I think the easiest one to pull apart is like a race recap. It's very simple, very
Hmm.
straightforward. As I'm watching a race, I'm taking my notes. I'm way too many notes, but I'm highlighting like overarching themes or things like that. And I'll form that into an episode. Episode is cold intro, actual intro, um, results, starting with the winner and then going into top 10,
Yeah.
other notable results, and then big storylines. Not totally like the proper pyramid style or inverted pyramid style that you're taught necessarily in
Hmm.
college. But that's just how I've structured my
It
episodes, and
works,
I've
right?
found that works pretty well. So that's how I go about that. But when we're talking about like news videos or evergreen content, like content that you can watch like years from now and it still would feel relevant about like fun topics, whether it's a die cast or you're going through like the history of NASCAR gaming or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really get my inspiration from not only what I see online from like what fans are talking about or what they're questioning, but a lot of it is as I'm reading something, I'm like, I wonder like why something's that way. Or I wonder like I see this NASCAR game now, but like what were the NASCAR games like a few years ago? Or did they have this same glitch or this same format? And so a lot of it is me going down the rabbit hole or collaborating with like my team that I have at ATYL Media, or even to sometimes my fiance at this point. Um, to say, hey, like, because he's a big gamer and he's really into like movies and stuff like that too. And I'm like, what if I did this as a video idea? Or, for example, as well, things that happen too. I got a dual auto Dale Jr. and Justin Allgaier number 40 diecast, and it's
I
somewhere
saw.
behind me
That's cool.
here.
By the way, that die
And
cast collection behind you is insane.
oh, thank you.
It is
It's
so awesome.
out of control,
It
but
is
it's
so
cool.
awesome. Like, I have, you can't see it, but I have one over here. And it is nowhere near that. That is crazy. That is so awesome.
It's unfortunately become an obsession, but it's a good inspiration point for content too.
Yeah,
Like
it
a
works,
lot
man.
of them hold memories. It
Yes.
works. Um, but like the diecast though, it like you press a button and there's like a speaker that has like Dale Jr.'s voice talking and like Justin Allgaier's voice talking. It's something I've never seen in a diecast
What do they
before.
say?
It's just them basically talking about like, yeah, I wasn't sure, like, or I was just gonna be happy if we hit the green flag at the Daytona 500 and called it a day. It's them just talking about the 500, like
Okay.
not just very monotone. It
Yeah.
was odd. But I thought it was so weird. And then I was like, well, what other weird diecasts are there? So, long story very long. A lot of the inspiration for my content comes from the ideas around me. Then I go into, well, what are fans saying?
Hmm.
And then I pull some things from like social media and include that like in my videos to get kind of to the crux. But it's almost like, I mean, for you, like writing, you kind of have a formula for how you want to go about writing and stuff like
Yes.
that. And I think about it like an essay. I mean, a
Hmm.
lot of the videos I do are kind of
Yeah, the
essays
video
too.
essays. Yeah.
So going about it in that way, and then of course you film, you edit, you post, you promote, rinse, cycle, repeat,
Yeah.
all over again.
Yeah. Each week in, week out, as they like to say in racing. Yeah,
Yes.
I do agree to the diecast thing though. I think I do like watching your content when it comes to the diecast, just seeing which ones you collect because they do hold special memories. I wish I wish I would have gotten it out before the show, but I still have the very first diecast I ever got. It was I was a huge Bill Elliott fan, and I had the Bill Elliott '94 McDonald's car.
Yes.
Still one of my my favorites out there. Two racing video games. Have you been playing the new NASCAR 25? This is off topic. This was not in my notes. You just triggered
Hey,
something. But
all good.
do you play the NASCAR 20? Have you pretty are you pretty decent at it? Have you tried it?
I haven't played it in like a month or two at this point. I played it like for a few weeks when it first came out, and I really liked it. I did an initial review of the game. iRacing sent me a copy. I
They
did a
sent
review.
you a copy?
They did.
That is really cool.
They did.
I had
I
to
felt very
wait.
blessed. Now,
And since I'm a computer gamer on Steam, I had to wait a month longer
oh,
than everyone else. So my girlfriend, she's in there playing it, just giggling, just having a good time, and I'm like,
yeah.
I don't have yet. Yeah, I had to wait. But
Oh,
this is crazy. We're all well. I'm off topic now, but this is yesterday. I won Pocono. I won Pocono in the Xfinity
nice.
series. Yep, career's going really well. Career's going really well. One can
I will
dream.
tell you, mine did not.
Yours did not.
No. I contrary to belief, just because you cover racing doesn't mean you're
You're
good
good
at
at
racing
racing.
yourself.
Yeah.
Um, not good whatsoever. I joined a lobby, I think the first like week of playing the game, and I was like, I cannot do this anymore. But the game was fun. It was a
Yeah.
good time. I would love to hop back into it. But
I
yeah, but not
use
not bad. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I love racing games. I did the iRacing thing years ago. I did the iRacing thing and even played Project Cars 2 in
Oh,
like a professional league.
oh,
Um,
nice.
I had dreams. I had such dreams as a kid that I wanted to be a race car driver. I told you I've been watching racing like a long time, and then when I
Yeah.
realized that the race car driver thing wasn't going to work out, like then I was like, oh, I want to be a pit reporter. And then when I realized that wasn't going to work out, I was just like, I'll just play racing video games. So I love them. It's my pastime. It's how I de-stress from the day. You
Yes,
know.
I feel that.
Speaking of de-stressing from the days, it kind of leads me into my next little thing I wanted to ask you. Are there days like for me, there are days when I know that like, okay, I have this goal, whether it's realistic or not. I'm like, okay, 1,500 words. That's my goal. I try to hit that a day or every writing session I get into. I'm like 1,500 words. But there are certain days when 1,500 words just feels like an Everest of a task. Like it is not possible. I don't want to do it. I'm exhausted by the idea of even having to get up and sit in front of the computer and just stare at the cursor blinking. Um, do you ever have days like that as a creative where you're just like, I don't want to, I can't do the show. I don't know. Like, I don't, I'm having a hard time just trying to find the will to do a video or a TikTok or whatever it may be. Do you have those days and kind of like, what do you do when that happens? Do you just take the day? Do you give yourself the freedom to take the day?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it's so important, like as creatives, to be candid about burnout. I
Yes.
think it's so important because you'll see content creators all the time on social media just pumping out content left and right, and then maybe they'll leave for a month and you're like, what happened? Like
Yeah.
I watched them for years and now they're not here, and you'll see a video where it's like, I got so burnt out I needed to step away for a long while. And for me, quite honestly, going into the off season, I felt that way. Obviously, health wise, I was not good.
Mm.
But I even too think just the amount I overworked myself during the season just led to a complete creative just stop, where I was like, the last thing that I need to be doing right now is making creative content. I don't have the energy, I don't have the time. And so yeah, I think for me, there are times where I don't want to make a video. And the thing that I've told myself and I've told my team, just as we're operating the way we are, is like, if you don't feel inspired to make content, if you feel exhausted, you don't have to do it.
Mm.
I would much rather have my creators that I work with, and even to myself, feel passionate and excited about something and let that be seen through the screen, as opposed to regurgitating a race recap or something like that where you just look done. And so my thing is, like, I will be exhausted. I will let myself, not make some creative content. Obviously, like when it comes to the content creator side of things, maybe you have a partnership agreement where you got to make that video. It just has to get done.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
for me too, with the race recaps, I commit myself to doing those because I have an audience that relies on my analysis and things like that. So I will do those. Sometimes, like candidly going into the season, I'm trying to figure out what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
With I do 9 to 5 where I'm covering racing every day of the week. I don't really have a weekend whatsoever. I'm working
Right.
9 to 5
Because
race
racing happens
weekends.
on the weekend. Yeah.
It happens on the weekends.
Yeah.
So you're constantly working race weekends. It's morning till evening when you get all your recaps done. And sometimes that's like 8 o'clock at night. Sometimes that's midnight. Then you go into Monday and you start another day of work. So I think it's a lot of burnout. And a lot of it is recognizing it, accepting it, figuring out where you can pull back. When you're feeling really inspired one day, I always tell my content creators, and something I do is make content in bulk, have it in your drafts just
Mm.
so you can have it there. Maybe it's a full length video that you have been passionate about that you don't want to edit right now, but when you're feeling like, ooh, I can't record today, let me edit something together. So for me, it's been almost pre planning for the inevitable burnout. So I still have content to sustain, but also knowing it's okay to be burnt out.
Yeah.
Like that's normal.
Yeah.
So
What are what would you say are some of the biggest challenges you face in this industry or content creating professionally, creatively? What are some of the challenges you think um, you face on a day-to-day basis doing this?
I mean, a lot of it is the burnout. I
Yeah.
think that's a decent challenge. I think the other thing too that we kind of talked about at the beginning as well is, you know, content creation for me is my full-time job, but doing content creation for one entity for one thing is not my full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
I am a content producer, a social media producer and talent for motorsport.
Yeah.
I am a business owner and leader for ATYO Media, where I'm not only managing a team, but I'm also running my own show. I'm
Right.
helping review articles, editorials. So for me, a lot of, the struggle sometimes, what I find challenging is balancing all of those roles and feeling like I'm creating content to the best of my ability or creating enough content. As I think a challenge that I face, a lot of it too is timeliness. When you're juggling so many different things and you have breaking news that comes out, but you're working on a project that you need to get done,
You have to stop what
you're
you're
not
doing,
going to
right?
be able to, you have to stop what you're doing. Or if that project is priority number one, then you got to miss that breaking news and learn to delegate.
Hmm.
And that's been a challenge for me too, as somebody who likes to be able to do everything
Yeah,
myself,
you were
you
saying,
know?
that you're very much like I like to just go my own way and I do my thing myself. Has delegation been tough for you? Because in my day job I have to delegate tasks, and I find that like that was the toughest part for me because I am very much like I'll just handle this myself type of thing.
Yes. For me, and maybe you feel this way about your writing too, but I'm very protective over what I create.
Yes.
And
Yes. No one knows these
ATYL,
characters like me,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Exactly. No one knows the characters you create like you. For me, it's nobody knows the content, the vibe, what I'm looking for like me. And I've been so lucky to work with such incredible content creators that have been like, you need to like stop doing everything. Let me help you.
Yeah.
And learning to accept the help and to delegate. I feel like, and hopefully my team will agree with me, I'm doing better at that.
Mm,
It's not easy for me,
sure.
but I'm definitely doing better. And you have to, in order to sustain your health and your well-being, to push back on potential burnout when it comes about. It's learning to trust other people with the work and the with the platform you've created
Right.
has been something that's been challenging but also very rewarding as well. Like we started last year as a brand new entity, right? This year, January of this year, NHRA had sent one of our content creators out to cover something in New York City. And like they reached out to us, they wanted us to go. And I'm like, we went from a brand new entity to a series wanting to work with us strategically to
That's pretty
cover
cool.
something for them. And I'm like, and that wouldn't happen if I wanted to have delegated and trusted my team and the great work they do. So delegation's hard,
Yeah.
but there's so much benefit to it when you can learn to kind of let go, and it creates some peace of mind along the way too.
Yeah. No, really, that's really cool. That's definitely rolling a critical success on that dice roll. That's pretty
Yeah,
neat. That's pretty crazy that would
nat 20 there.
yeah, no, that's pretty nuts that would come along. That actually is something I wanted to ask. Like, what has been the biggest like pinch me moment for you? I think when you're thinking about you're sitting at the kitchen table, your dad's washing dishes. He comes up with this above the yellow line thing. You do your first show. You don't even have your camera on, and now here you are with a team. You use the word team. You have a team. Like what has been? Where were you when you were like, holy shit, this is crazy? Where were you when that kind of happened? What was the pinch me moment?
You know, not to say that I haven't had that
But say, has
yet,
it hit you yet? Or are
but
you
it
just
hasn't
so
hit me
focused
yet.
on going, you're just working so hard that you just don't even notice it?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is I'm so focused on what's in front of me and what's present that I haven't had a chance to reflect. I got great advice from Holly Kane and Doug Rice. This
Doug
was
Rice. Very cool.
incredible, very cool. I got to shadow him at Bristol, 2 years ago. He
Hmm.
invited me to the PRN booth, and I got to see because I love radio. I really do. I did a lot of
Me
it in
too.
college, and
Yeah, me
I
too.
was like, "Ooh, maybe this is a route." And someday I'd love to do radio too. So,
Yeah.
but they both gave me the piece of advice when I was at a luncheon for the National Motorsports Press Association, and they were like, "Reflect. Take time to reflect because it will go by so fast. Write things down, like
Hmm.
document things because it's going to fly." And I hear the advice, and I would hope I've taken it sometimes because there are some like cool moments, but I think I'm so focused on here's where I want to be, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna keep my head down and work until I can get to that point.
I love
Um,
it. I love the
I
drive. I love the hustle. That's so cool. I love it.
You gotta have the drive and the hustle. I,
Hell
I
yeah.
will say the one the one thing that hit me I wasn't expecting it to is I covered the Daytona 500 last year for the first
No, yeah,
time.
that's pretty cool.
It was really cool. I went into the weekend nervous as crap because I was like, "Oh my gosh, like am I prepared? Do I have everything I need? Like this is such a big week." And I was in charge of doing photography, journalism, content creation, content management, writing. Like I was in charge of so much that weekend,
That's a lot.
and I just felt stressed. I didn't
Sure.
allow myself to enjoy it and recognize here's where you are.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the green flag waved that I just like broke down in
Oh, yeah,
tears
I think
on
I would
pit
have
road.
too. I think I would have too.
Yeah.
And plus Daytona has this magic to it anyway. Like
Oh, it's magic.
going back to the 24 hours of Daytona, I
Hmm.
that was the first time I'd ever been to Daytona. So this is actually kind of a weird story. Going off topic again. I was watching the coverage so this was the year that Fernando Alonso was going to be running in the 24 hours of Daytona, and Catherine Legg was going to be there, and Elio
Okay.
Castroneves was going to be there, and I wanted to go, but it's like Wednesday. The race is that weekend. I live in Raleigh. I bought tickets, and that was it. So I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I drive down I-95. This was back when I was single too, and I could do stuff like this. I just drove. I just drove down there on my own. I didn't have a hotel room. I didn't have food. I didn't have nothing. I just was like, I got tickets to see the 24 hours of Daytona. I go to Daytona. By the way, when you first walk into Daytona, how cool is that? Isn't that place huge? Like, I grew up
It's
watching races in, like, Rockingham, North Carolina, and Charlotte, and you walk into that track, and it's like, oh my God, right?
you don't know until you're there.
It's
Like
right.
you know it's a large track, but once you're there,
Yeah.
it
You
hits you.
see it on TV, and you're like, that's a big track, but when you see it in person, you're like, oh my God. I had goosebumps. I had goosebumps.
Yes.
So let me paint this picture. So I'm in the car. It's 2:00 in the morning. Drive down to Daytona. I get to Daytona around 10:30. So I made pretty good time. Have pit passes. So I'm walking around. I'm meeting folks. I'm getting autographs. I'm having a blast. Race starts around like 2:00 that afternoon or something like that. And then I'm there, dude. I have no hotel. I have nowhere to go. So I slept in the grandstands for that entire 24-hour race.
The
Um,
true
the
experience.
true experience. I was there with them. I was there with them fellas the whole way. I felt like when that checker flag like finally flew, I was like, dude, I did it. I've done it. I've
Yeah.
been out here all night. Like it was awesome. And then I had to drive back. And that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was my. So I like to say, like, I drove 8.5 hours down to watch them drive 24 and then drove 8.5 hours back. But we do it for motorsport, do we not? We do it for the
Yes.
love of the game. If I would go back, in fact, when the girlfriend was watching the 24 hours, she was like, "We should totally go," and I was like, "Yeah, we should," but I'm gonna do it a whole lot different this time.
Yes.
Learned my lesson there. Um, so yeah, like when you're not making content though, when you do find those moments of burnout, and what do you do when you're not doing that? Do you make time for yourself? Like, you got to take breaks too. You got to, your self care. Like, what do you do to unwind? Like, what are some things that you like to get into?
So my goal for 2026 is to create healthy work-life boundaries.
Ooh,
Uh,
very
and
good.
I
So,
think this is something that a lot of us feel the need to work on.
yeah.
Um,
This is something it's a never ending process.
oh yeah, and it'll fluctuate. It ebbs and flows
Yeah.
as any goal or thing does. But for me, that's been a huge sticking point. When it hits 5 p.m. on a weekday, if I can help it, laptop turns off. If
Mm,
something's an emergency, call me. If it's not an emergency. I can see
amen.
it the next day.
Amen.
Um, so it's doing a lot of that, but I love like when it's nicer outside, like sitting on the porch and like doing a crossword puzzle or like Sudoku or something like that. Like
Oh
love
man,
like puzzles
Sudoku.
and games and
Yeah.
really getting into that over the off season. Like that's been fun for me.
Speaking of
Um,
games, I actually
yes.
I think I owe you a board game. Um, I don't know if you remember this, but I was moving and I asked if you wanted. I have it here.
Oh my gosh, yes. I
I still
remember
I
this.
still have it. By the way, can we just admire how young Denny Hamlin looks in this picture?
Crazy.
Crazy. Um, I am so bad about, like, first of all, I apologize. As you say, I
That's
still
okay.
have it, and I do mean to send it to you, but I'm so bad about going to the post office. It is as worse
Me
as the
too.
DMV to me. It is like up
Oh, don't
there.
even get me started on the DMV.
Yeah, I know. So you like to play games? What kind of games do you like to play?
Yeah, games. I mean, a lot of it, like this off season, it's been the saga of Animal Crossing for
Oh
me.
yeah, fun game.
Love Animal Crossing. Sometimes my fiance loves playing video games, so I'll like watch along. It's like my version of an interactive movie.
Yeah,
Um, love board games.
me too. I'm
Like
a board game nerd.
yes. No, board games, my bread and butter. Love it. Card games, love those.
Yeah,
I also find a lot of joy too, and there's a lot to do in North Carolina, especially near the Charlotte area when it comes to
there is.
racing and
Yeah,
so exploring a lot when I have free time is going out like to nearby town, whether it's like Mooresville, Kannapolis, Charlotte,
yeah,
Huntersville, like kind of that central area, and just seeing what there is to see. A lot of it is just getting out of the office,
yeah,
refilling the creative juices, stepping away from technology, touching grass. Something that is very lovely to do when I'm
yeah,
not creating
yeah.
content.
I've lived in North Carolina for 37 years. Um,
Wow.
so there's a lot to see. Have you been to Kitty Hawk yet, or Nag's Head down in the Outer Banks?
No, but I'm gonna write
Put
those
it
down.
down, write it down. Or I don't know if you like to hike, and I love to be outdoors. Pilot Mountain, great
Ooh,
hiking,
okay.
great hiking out there. Hanging Rock, places like that. There's some amazing views. Wilmington, North Carolina, the downtown scene.
That is on my list.
Yeah,
I've heard it's beautiful.
it is. It is, especially if you're like artsy. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
there's some fun things to get into. Really good comic book shop down there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk as we finish up here. I just wanted to talk a little shop, just get your thoughts, for the fans, so they can hear what your thoughts are going into the 2026 season. What do we think of the points change? We like it. We like
I
it.
love it.
We have thoughts. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. So it is something that I have been screaming for the rooftops for the past few seasons.
Right.
You know what would be cool if we returned to like the chase, but not like the later versions of the chase where we had wild cards and stuff like that, but like just a straight up like 10 race battle to the
Yeah.
finish. Like I
Yeah.
just felt like that was a good in between
It
for
worked.
what fans were. It worked.
I
It really
think
did work.
I think the only reason why they did away with it, I think, is because Jimmy Johnson crushed it. Do you
Oh
feel
yeah.
that way? I mean, but like even if he crushes it, he crushes it. So what? I mean,
Right. I'm like, we're probably going to see the same thing here too if a driver is great and consistent.
yeah. Do you
You know?
think under this format we can finally get two-part question? Do you think we could finally get Denny Hamlin winning the championship under this format? And then two, does he have it in the tank to go again that hard?
See, my concern is under this
been
format, no. I look at how the points shook out last year,
right.
and
He actually
wouldn't have
wasn't.
been in.
Yeah.
He was close, but wasn't there. I also don't know, and this is something only Denny can answer if he has it in the tank. He has had one of the most unimaginable off seasons.
Gosh, that's putting
It's been a
that's putting it
lot.
mildly. Yeah. Devastated.
And for Denny and what we know about him is that he's very good at when the helmet goes on, like I am focused on my job, he turns adversity into diamonds. That's what we know about Denny.
Yeah.
And so this could be one of those moments where he turns adversity into diamonds, but how he lost the championship in an overtime start and just
Was
everything
that
that
not
happened.
the most
it's hard.
devastating thing in sports? Probably. I don't know. Like to me, I've seen a lot of bad things happen. We were watching it downstairs when it happened, and we all were quiet. You could have heard a pin drop in the room because we went from, and the crazy thing is, I've never been a Denny Hamlin fan, never. But last year, for some reason, I was like, I want this guy to do it. Because in my mind, I was thinking this is going to be, if he wins it, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I was like, if he wins this thing, this is going to recreate a 1998 Dale Earnhardt winning Daytona 500 moment. I was really convinced that Denny Hamlin's going to drive his happy ass down pit road, and everyone is going to want a piece. Everyone's going to want a piece of it to just come over and shake his hand. And it was robbed from us with like 5 to go. Less than that.
Less than that. I got a gut feeling because it was getting down to like 20 to go, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I think he's gonna do it.
This could happen.
I think he's gonna do it.
This could happen.
My fiance's like, I think it's gonna happen. I'm like, wait a second, this feels too good to be true. Let's pause for a second. And like you said, it's just like the air like just deflated. Like
I was gutted.
Pin drop.
I was thinking about it weeks after it would just hit me, and I was like, oh my god, I couldn't believe it.
It's unbelievable. And after, I mean, if the fans feel that way, I can't even imagine how Denny's felt about it and how he's continuing to feel about it. And for me, like the mental toughness you would have to go through everything he's gone through over the past 2 months, like I don't know. And I guess we'll see what he does during the season. Whatever happens, I don't blame him for how he handles the season or whatever. Like he said that he's fulfilling a promise that he made to Joe Gibbs and the Gibbs family, and we'll go from there. But it's so fascinating when you talk about, journalism and how the stories were told this year. A lot of it was focused around the lawsuit. A lot of it was focused around the playoff format. Denny made himself a part of the narrative because of the lawsuit with his own podcast. And so the fans and even the media, in a sense, like Denny was the story.
Yeah.
Denny's been the story. 60 wins going into the championship 4. Could this be his year? And it felt so monumental, and everyone felt that magic, and it just left. So it was interesting how the story building this year.
He was like
that.
He honestly made a fan out of me. Like I started to, and I think it was his podcast that kind of did that for me. Cause like I started listening to him and getting his side, and I was like, man, this guy's pretty cool. I can feel this guy. I get where he's coming from, and I just wanted him for the first time in my entire time of watching him race. I was like, I really want him to do this, and I had that thought he was going to do it, and I have never felt just so dejected. Maybe after the elections, maybe that was the last time I felt dejected like that. But I was like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe what has just happened. But you could argue like, okay, so he loses that, but man, did he come back and win that court case, in a big way. So, hey, we lost the battle, won the war. But speaking of which, if Taylor Kitchen was, president of NASCAR and you had you had the power, what are some things that you would like to see the sport do? Do you have any things on your list that you're like, if you were given the keys to the keys to the car, well, what are you doing? How what's NASCAR look like?
Full transparency, I think the lawsuit covered a lot of what I would say. I mean make honestly, the charters like permanent, right?
Yeah, that would be a big deal for me.
Yeah, do that. I think the stage or not. Well, get rid of stages is one. I would love to get rid of stage.
Don't like the stage racing?
No, yeah. I can appreciate it as a fan at the track. It's a built-in break to, get your snack and go to the restroom, and you're not missing anything.
Yeah.
But as a fan at home, I'm like, oh, like when you watch super speedway racing now, flow. And how it's just yeah. So I'd get rid of that. But I will say that the point system that we have now, I'm very excited about. That was one thing that I was like, if I was president of NASCAR, yeah, there you go. Like that's something we changed. So, yeah. I mean. Honestly, I feel NASCAR's headed in a good direction. I feel like we're recovering a little bit. I think NASCAR also has some damage control that they have to do with their image, leadership, reputation, big time, just candidly. And so I hope and I would think that NASCAR is going into this year recognizing that. And I think with all these proposed changes, even too with the rumblings from Jordan Bianchi, the Bianchi bomb, that the Roval is going to not be a thing potentially.
Heard that. That's one race. So like, I have always gone to that one and seen it in person. At the track, I think it's really cool. Like that's the thing I try to tell people. Like if you go and you watch it in person, it is a lot of fun because there's always someone missing a corner, running into some. Like I was watching, my girlfriend and I still laugh about this, but we saw Joey Logano straight up just punt two cars right off the track, right there at the start finish line. That like I'm sure it wasn't on television, but we were like, holy crap, that's so awesome. But like but on TV, I don't think it's that great of a race. I really don't think it comes across. At least that's what I've been told.
Yeah, and I mean, I would agree with that. Like in person, it is so fun because you can see everything. And that's what I think is hard for people when it comes to road courses in general. Like, I mean, even when you're at the track, you can't really see anything, but you can change your perspective and whatever, depending on where you go. But for the Roval, you get to see it all, every twist and turn, turn 6 and 7. That is basically like a 90-degree angle. Like that was so fun to watch the past few years. And this year I actually this was 2 years ago. Yeah, I sat by like around where the start finish line was, but coming out of like the front area, and you saw like Alex Bowman's car just like lift like off of that front, and I'm like, what the heck?
There's
just things you catch.
Yeah, there's things you catch there. That's what I would tell when people would say the Roval sucks. I'd be like, well, okay, if you watch it on television, there's a case to be made that the Roval sucks, but if you watch it in person, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty fun.
So I'm gonna miss it.
I mean, I'll miss it. Me too. I'll miss it. Do you think they'll put Charlotte Oval back in that spot, or are they gonna do a completely different track? Like, what goes in that spot?
I totally think that it's just gonna be the Charlotte Oval. I think you sell tickets for that event, you have to keep it at Charlotte.
That's what one would think. Yeah.
I hate that there's not gonna be allegedly a road course in the playoffs.
Oh,
I think that's
a miss. Needs to be.
Just because if you have that diversity during the season, it should be represented in your postseason as well, just for variety's sake. And I think for me, of fairness, if you're trying to determine the best from your season, you should have a road course in there. So I thought that was interesting, but I understand that there's a loud majority of fans that didn't get the Roval, didn't love the racing it provided. And I think it's great to see that NASCAR seems to be listening. There was a concern that it took Mark Martin to get them to listen, according
Yes.
to the
Yes.
press conference for the playoff system. But it's a good direction. It's a good step.
Yeah, Mark Martin has been surprising to me. So when I was watching racing, Mark Martin was in the prime of his career there. So watching him now, and then he disappears for a while. You don't hear from Mark Martin,
Yeah.
and the dude is resurfaced within the last, for me, like, I don't know, it seems like the last year or two. Mark Martin has resurfaced. Like, oh, there's Mark Martin. And the amount of change that he's allegedly been able to
Yes.
do in a short period of time is like, wow, where have you been? Like, what have you been doing? And
Yes.
why all of a sudden has he returned to, I don't know, make these changes? It's been great. Thank you, Mark Martin.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mark
Yes.
Martin.
Thank you, Mark Martin.
Thank you, Mark Martin. Where are you going to be? Where are you going to be at this year? Do you have any tracks lined up that you're going to go this year? Anything in the works that we can potentially see you on?
That's a great question. I have a list of tracks that are on my wish list for the year, including ones that are coming up very, very soon. No clear answers yet, but the hope and of course the want is that I'll be at the 500, so fingers crossed
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Obviously, I would love to go to Daytona in the summer, right before the chase begins. I think that's just a fun race, but I'm always at the local tracks, like local to North Carolina, like your Rockingham's,
Yeah.
Darlington, very
I'll be at
close to North
Rockingham.
Carolina.
I'll be at Rockingham this year. For the
Beautiful.
what is it, Easter weekend? I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to that.
Easter weekend.
Yeah, I haven't been back to Rockingham since they closed it down, so I didn't go last year. But I'm
So good.
I'm excited to walk back into that place again.
Yes.
Because that's where all of my racing memories were crafted. So I'm excited to walk back
Yes.
into that place again.
It's a cool track, and I think they did an excellent job with bringing it back. So any of those types of tracks that are very close, I will for sure, fingers crossed, 99% sure, be at. But otherwise, it's almost like where's Waldo, but where's Taylor? Just find her,
Yeah.
look at her social media, figure out where she is that weekend,
Yeah.
and go from there.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to Homestead. I got my tickets to Homestead.
Oh, I hope to be there.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Well, that's awesome. We get to go like for championship race and just seeing it back and
Yeah. I'm excited about going that. We're me and the girlfriend are going, and we're going for the weekend and going to hit all three and then hopefully get to the Miami Zoo. So
Ooh, that's fun.
looking forward to that. So one last thing, where you spoke earlier that you still have all these goals, you're keeping the head down, you're going forward. 5 years from now, what does Taylor Kitchen hope to see? Where do you hope to be 5 years from now? Can you give us like the plan? Where do you think it's going to go? The empire? Where will it grow?
Yeah. Oh, the media empire. I think the goal for me, honestly, in 5 years is just, I don't want to say feeling content because that feels like being complacent, but it's feeling fulfilled in the fact of where I'm at. I feel like right now I'm constantly going, and working towards something. And I feel like we have to as human beings. You always need to work to be better and to just feel fulfillment. And I feel that fulfillment now, but I know 5 years from now, like I would love to have like a physical office for ATYL Media, and we have our content creators in house, and we're doing all this really cool stuff and inviting teams in to collaborate and use like podcasting spaces. Like there's all these big goals that I have and that my team is aligned on that we would love to do years from now. Like if pit reporting ever becomes an option, if my health improves, maybe 5 years from now I'm dabbling in pit reporting again. I got to do that this past summer with James Pike, incredible pit reporter, incredible friend. And it just ignited the spark for me where I was like, oh my gosh, like this is something that I've thought about doing, but I could do. So I think the real answer is 5 years from now, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I would love to help continue growing like Motorsport Network as well. Like there's so many things I want to be doing. And so I guess 5 years from now, I hope the goals I set now either are in motion or we're getting there, and just hope for continued growth is, I guess, the real answer I can say, just as goals and aspirations change and grow.
No, that's good. You got a goal. You got focused. You seem focused. You seem like you know where you're heading. And I have to believe you will get there. I look forward to seeing where your career takes you and continue getting my racing news from you. Thank you so much for dropping by and speaking with all of us. and sharing your story. I really have appreciated it. Where can, for those of you who are watching this, and there's probably a lot who don't know you and don't follow the show, where can they follow you? How can they find you? How can they stay in touch with what you're doing?
Yes, just go to abovetheyellowline.com. There you can find all of my social handles, the social handles of ATYL Media, Above the Yellow Line, on Twitter at _TaylorKitchen_ is the easiest place to keep up with me and stuff like that. But it's been a true pleasure to talk with you. It's been so fun, such a chill,
Yeah.
just really refreshing conversation.
Hey
It was
man,
awesome.
we about
So
the
thank you so
chill.
much.
I'm very chill.
Yeah.
I'm all about the chill. Even my music's
Love it.
chill. Like I have to. It's what I do. It's what I do. I really appreciate you stopping by. It was really fun to get to talk to you, and really
Nice.
cool. Really cool. So thanks for doing this. That's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for listening to this conversation, watching the old podcast, Untold Talent. If you want to see more, I'm going to do that content creator thing. I'm going to say like and subscribe to follow all of that. And don't forget to watch Chuckle with the Guys on Monday with 4 with Ross and Nikos, that little comedy show that we do on Mondays at 4. And Thursdays, be sure to check out Adakashi as she tries to carry me through Baldur's Gate 3. Have you ever played Baldur's Gate 3?
On my list.
I'm terrible at it. And every Thursday night we get on a stream and people see just how bad I am at that game. But thank God Adakashi is so good at it, because it would be a disaster. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.